The following is a Joel Michalec production. On November 13th, Felix Unger was asked to remove himself from his place of residence. That request came from his wife. She asked him to leave because he wouldn't listen to the Joel Michalec Show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Joel Michalec Show featuring the lovely Sharen. We're back after a short hiatus of getting things done, and we weren't totally off the air, but we're back. Welcome. I'm Joel Michalec, and across from me at the table here, actually alongside of me at the table here, is the lovely Sharen.
Yes, it's me.
You'll get around the table again when you clean up my office.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
Or the studio, I should say.
Yeah.
Or the storage room, I should now say. Anyway, welcome everybody.
All-around room.
Yes, we're back on what I think to be show one. I'm going to check this because I think it's show 165.
I think you're right.
Oh my, it's 168. Because we weren't totally off the air.
That's
we did some.
right.
We did some other types of content while we were taking breaks.
Yep.
But just to make sure that the audience had something to enjoy, the networks had something to play, so they didn't cancel our contracts on us. But anyway, so we're back, and if you want to get a hold of us on the Cyber Life, very simply, visit us at www.jmtalk.net. That's jmtalk.net. On social media, we're at TikTok and Facebook at JM Talk, Instagram and Twitter at JM Talk Radio. Yes, I had to write it down this time because I hadn't said it in a couple of weeks.
I was like, what is he talking?
I haven't said it in like 3 weeks.
I know.
And I didn't want to mess it up.
I've missed doing this, though. I really have.
Oh, then you're never around. You've been on assignment for 3 weeks.
Whoa.
If you listen to the podcast, you've been on assignment for 3 weeks.
No, I know I have. I know I have.
So, yes, 168. Here we are. So much happened while we weren't at the table as well. I guess one of the things we should mention is for the people that live on the rock, and depend on us,
right?
For some reason, the daylight savings may be over as early as next year.
I heard.
So. I think I'm okay with that. Like at first I was like, so this is all Congress has to worry about.
Right.
But then when I thought about it, people have been bitching about this for a very long time.
Yeah, they have.
The uselessness of it, I tried to look it up to find out exactly why it was done. There's so many reasons,
right,
depending on where you live, why this was adopted.
And there are some states that don't abide by it.
There's some counties.
Right.
Imagine if we didn't abide by it here, and then we would go to the beach down to the camper.
Right.
And we'd have to offset our clocks by an hour because that county is observant, and our county. There are individual townships in pockets of the United States, townships, little hamlets that don't abide by it. That's got to be sort of archaic to go to the store and know that while you're at the grocery store, you're like an hour off one way or the other. I mean, you could miss Survivor or something like that. Or Big Brother or whatever.
Show.
Which one? I have a lot now.
I know.
Which one are you talking about? You haven't watched The Office in months.
You won't let me.
So I was halfway through the final season, which I still haven't seen.
Right.
And I stopped and went all the way back to the beginning for you.
I know.
And we're stuck at like season 5.
Well, yeah, but you've taken over the TV yourself, watching.
That's because you're on assignment.
Shows like From and To and At. Just From.
But you're always on assignment somewhere.
Well, stop sending me on assignments, and I won't go.
But so one of the things I was always told, and I couldn't find it to verify it at this point, but one of the things I was always told was that one of the reasons for daylight savings was so during the growing part of the year, farmers could have that extra day of sunlight or that extra hour of sunlight. But
if you think about it, if it was straight regular time, no daylight saving time, you're going to have the same amount of sun as you did with daylight savings time.
Yeah. So, and the other thing, too,
my opinion.
If that was one of the reasons, the other problem with that now, too, is we are not as big an agricultural society as we once were.
Right. We depend on other countries.
We've become a consumer-based nation.
Yes.
Which has its own faults, but,
right.
Instead
of an industrial nation that we used to be.
So...
Right.
Now, the only reason, so I didn't check. I know the Senate passed it, so it has to go back to the House, and then the President has to sign it if the House approves it.
Right.
I don't know where it was left off. The last I checked, the House hadn't voted on it yet, but they anticipate it's going to go through, no problem. But it won't go into effect until fall of 2023.
Right.
And the reason for that, I think, is because... your airlines, your bus companies, all your transportation companies already have their schedules pushed out for quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
And they want them to not have to go through the expense of having to reprint all that. So,
Exactly.
I don't...
No, I get it. I do. It makes sense.
It makes you stop and think, look how much is dependent upon daylight savings time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
agreed.
And so, we'll have to see how that... I almost wonder if society as a whole will go through this natural something or other the first time. We don't have to push one way or the other.
What do you mean?
Will you feel it? Because your body, and you've talked about it before, how your body is like a clock.
Yeah, it is.
We know that daylight savings back and forth affects Molly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. It affects her schedule.
Yeah.
So, and ours too. I mean, if you think about it.
Yeah.
We have to adjust our work schedule, feeding schedule, meaning eating schedule, bathroom schedule, everything.
So in the wintertime, it won't get dark as fast, but it still will get, the days will still get shorter and longer because the axis of the earth will still have its natural effect.
Right.
When we pushed forward, we were getting daylight till like 5:30. And now, at this point, we're seeing it's almost 8 o'clock already.
I know.
So, we're still going to have that natural ebb and flow of daylight hours.
I was looking at that, what was it, last night? I was sitting upstairs, and was it last night I was sitting upstairs? Or was I not? Anyway, I was actually joining the family in TV time, and... I was thinking about that, sitting there looking out our backyard, and I was like, wow, it's like 7. Am I boring you with the story?
No.
He just yawned so hard. And I was like, wow, it's really starting to get later longer.
Yep.
So
I look out the sliding glass doors and I go, man, we got so much to do out there.
I know. You know what? I can't, I'm having enough trouble keeping my mind straight.
I know what I want to get done this weekend, so I'm just hoping that the weather cooperates because I know what I want to get done out there this weekend.
Yeah,
me personally, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So anyway, we're looking, I don't know if you're looking forward to it or not, but daylight savings is going to come to an end, at least here. I don't know what other countries are doing. There are more countries involved in this than I thought, but they'll have to make their own decision. Yeah. So what else is happening? So obviously, we haven't watched the Oscars in decades, but apparently this year, I mean, the day after, we get up at 5 a.m, and when we got up, every video on TikTok, no matter which way you went, scroll up, scroll down, was Chris Rock getting slapped by
my goodness,
Will Smith.
And then on TikTok, it's all these parodies of, I shared
there's some of the parodies are they're funny.
Yeah, they're funny. It's just, wow.
Yeah, well,
Will Smith is a pretty big deal at this point.
Well, Will Smith is now banned from the Academy events for 10 years.
Yeah.
So
let's hope he doesn't get nominated.
Right?
Because he won't be able to go there to receive it.
And so here's there's a lot of people have different opinions and everything, like everything else, right?
Sure.
My problem with what happened, well, a couple things. One, it's a misdemeanor. Or is it a felony? I forget. Assault.
Depends on the level of assault.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the one problem, and no repercussion for that.
Just a slap is probably a misdemeanor, but if you beat the crap out of somebody, then that's kind of felony.
So the other problem I have with it is it signifies a very important problem in society.
Right.
It begins the discussion, not that I'm hearing a lot of things, right. But I'm hearing a couple things. There's going to wind up being a large discussion about the end of stand-up comedy. The stand-up comic is going to get suppressed by this woke thing, like so there are two sides. Like, he was joking around, video surfaced of Snoop Dogg making fun of her for the same reason on like a different award show or something. Oh
yeah.
And then that's okay.
And that's okay.
Even she laughed. Even Jada laughed at it.
Yeah.
So where was I going with this? So anyway,
I'm sure there's some sort of tension between Chris Rock and Will Smith.
I understand there's always been.
Jada. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so if anybody else had been standing up there, you or I, we wouldn't have got slapped. You know? However,
like the audacity,
because of the tensions.
And I mean, so he was laughing at the joke
until he saw his wife.
Until she looked at him with this, and it wasn't even a go do something about that. It was like a disgust, like her eyes rolled, like, oh my god,
right.
And then
like you're laughing too.
And suddenly, so the hood rat Philly in him, just comes out and on national TV. And here's one of the sad things. You probably didn't know about this.
No,
I told you. I think I told you.
Yeah.
One of the sad things about this is this was the first Oscars in history.
No, it wasn't Oscars. Was it?
Yeah.
You said it was...
No, he was banned from the Academy.
Yes. Okay. Oh,
the Academy decides...
The whole Academy?
Yeah, the whole Academy.
Oh.
All Academy events for 10 years.
So that includes the Oscars. That includes the Etsy Award, everything.
Etsy. So, so this was the first Oscars ever to be produced by a team of Black Americans. So it was like this headlining, never been done kind of, you know what I mean? This was their night. This was their night to shine.
Right.
And he basically stole the entire thing with that one
slap.
Trivial, and any other time would be a trivial thing.
Yeah, exactly. But then it was made to be, ew, that's just gross. It was made to be into this. Well, Chris Rock was picking on her because she has, this alopecia, which Bruce Willis has as well. Did you know that? Mm-hmm. And
but that's what I'm talking about. Like comedians, and it's always been like this. Like go back and look at the old George Carlin concerts. They always picked on the weak and the stupid, and
because it was funny.
Right, and
it was meant as a joke.
In many cases themselves. Look at Brian Regan. He did an entire 45-minute Comedy Central special on how stupid he is.
I know. So, but it's meant to be in a light, humorous, funny way.
A just way for you to look at it and go, wow,
exactly.
Do you remember that comedian? I can't remember his name. We went to see him at Dover Downs, and then he appeared on my old live show.
Yes.
So he had cerebral palsy.
Yes.
And he comes out. I'll never forget the look on Dana's face because she was mortified. He comes out and everybody's giving him like an ovation.
Right.
And he told a joke, and then you heard how he sounded and everything, and the crowd got really quiet. And I remember he said, "You can go ahead and laugh because I'm going to be retarded all night." And like there was like laughter and
because he was making fun of himself.
And the look on Dana's face was like she was mortified that he would say that.
Yeah.
But that's stand-up comedy.
Exactly. It's not. Comedy is just that.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be serious. And if you're offended by comedy, then there's an issue with you.
Right.
Not the comedian.
Just like the rest of the woke crowd. If you have issues with this and that, if it's affecting your life so bad, then you have other issues you have to look at.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Instead of trying to make the rest of society conform to how you feel. That's not the way this works.
Right.
It's not the way it works.
Yes,
so that happened. Now I saw a clip from Chris Rock a couple days later did his first appearance since that event.
Right.
He did a stand up concert.
Right.
And I saw he came out on stage and he got a stand ovation, like, the outpouring of support for him.
Remind me to tell you about his brother as well.
Okay. So, and then when everybody calms down, they sit down and everything, he didn't talk about it, but he starts out, he goes, "So, how was your weekend?"
Yeah.
But he did make an announcement right after that. He goes, "Look, everyone knows something happened." He said, "I'm not ready to talk about it. When I'm ready to talk about it, I'll talk about it."
Right.
So let's get down to, what we're here for, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but I understand it affected him deeply.
Oh,
and I don't know if it was so much the slap or the reason for the slap. I think it was where and when it happened.
Oh, sure.
Can you imagine how embarrassing that is?
Oh, yeah.
So, you were going to tell me about his brother?
Yeah, his brother is also a stand-up comedian. And, I'm sorry. His brother, and he came out and he was saying something about, he was like, "Listen, I'm not going to stand up here and I'm not going to talk about, my brother and I'm not going to do this. And if you've got a problem with being here because I'm here because of what happened with my brother, then sorry. There you go." So kind of in those lines of, what he said.
Right.
So, yeah, it was just like, sorry.
Just trying to get you into the microphone a little bit.
I'm sorry, is this better? Is that too much?
Yeah, no, it's better.
Okay, so just that one slap trickled down into the to the rest of the comedians.
Yeah.
You know, how far can you take your jokes? How far can will the person you're talking about, whether they're in front of you or not, how far will they take it?
So
That's my guess.
I saw an editorial cartoon that it was, one of those one-plate editorial cartoons.
Yeah.
And it was this guy and his little boy, and they were standing in front of this glass case in the museum. And it had a guy in like a sparkly suit, and he was standing in front of a microphone stand. And the comic said, that son, that's a comedian. They died out around 2021.
Oh, wow.
And so, but that's the message.
Yeah.
That's the message of the possibilities that and the impact of one single solitary moment in time.
Exactly.
Especially in this society with a bunch of dopes called woke.
You know what though? Everybody today is so how what's the word? Like
uptight?
No, I mean like every teeny little thing. Whether it happened 100 million years ago or it happened just 2 minutes ago, are either offended or highly sensitive to it.
Sensitive to something that doesn't affect them.
Exactly.
Never did, and they weren't even here.
Right.
When
and all they did was hear it.
Yeah.
So it had nothing to do with them. And the fact that they heard it or saw it then affected them in a certain way.
Well, it's a whole new world.
Well, these babies need to buck up.
Not my world, but it's a whole new world.
I know, right? It's crazy insane.
Okay, so anyway, we're going to get ready to take our break. We will have a Wombat of the Week this week. I think on our last two shows that we were here, I think the last one where we were on the air, it was in the third segment because we forgot it. And the week before that, we had forgotten it.
Period.
And it got held over. So we're going to try really hard not to get too involved with our own stories and comedy rants before we get banned, that we don't get you the Wombat of the Week. The Wombat of the Week will go on.
Absolutely.
I don't care about woke.
And if you're
don't do stupid things,
right?
And you won't become a wombat.
Exactly.
So that plus when we come back, we'll get into some of the besides the wombat, other stupid things out of the news, because that's one of our specialties here on the program. And we'll be back right after this quick break on the Joel Michalec Show featuring the lovely Sharen.
This is New York's Super Oldie Station, 920 WON, The Apple, Brooklyn, New York.
So I use my computer every day. I'm not even sure how I get along without it. But I wasn't prepared for a virus. A Trojan, they called it. One night I'm cruising along, and the next night I can't do anything. I was afraid it was going to cost me a fortune. Boy, was I surprised. They had me back up and running the same day I called them. I really like PC Tech Rescue, and you know what? My wallet likes them too.
Are you troubled by computer problems? PC Tech Rescue should be your very next call. Whether the problem is viruses, hardware, software, or any other issue, they can diagnose your problem and have you back up and running fast. With more than 25 years of industry experience, you can be sure you are getting dependable and affordable service. Call today, 484-429-6061, or email us at pctechrescue@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the Joel Michalec Show featuring the lovely Sharen. Thanks for joining us. And on this week's program, we're back.
Yeah.
Lost my train of thought there. But anyway, so now we're back. We got a couple different stories. One of them is the Wombat, but we have a couple different, really, it has gotten to the point now where I could take
just about any headline.
at least 24 headlines in 1 week to be the Wombat.
Right.
What are you doing? Stop.
There's something there.
Well, yeah, it's called an ear. And they would be wombats. For example, shall we dive right in?
Yeah.
I had to turn away from you.
Dive right in.
So you have to talk to the back of my head.
Uh-oh.
It's the design of the studio. Anyway, Burger King is being sued by customers who claim that the Whopper is smaller than the advertisements.
What?
Yes. So the plaintiffs in a lawsuit, which was filed on March 28th, they are seeking monetary damages for anyone who was deceived by Burger King's advertising. Although the filing doesn't, name a monetary target, but
wow,
I don't know about that. I think everything in advertising looks better and bigger than it is.
Well, that's because there's special agencies out there
Right.
to photograph foods, and half the foods that you're looking at are
food.
not
Oh my
actual
God!
foods.
I know you've seen those videos.
Yeah.
If I was suing Burger King for misadvertising, it would be suing them because they're advertising that you should actually eat the plant-based Whopper. That is why I would be suing them.
Exactly, right?
But anyway, according to Burger King does not comment on pending or potential litigation. So that's how a Burger King spokesman got out of answering any questions.
Right.
The lawsuit alleges deceptive trade practices with the filing, claiming that Burger King started to materially overstate the size of its burgers back in 2017. While the marketing images of the Whopper may have grown bigger, the recipe or the amount of beef or ingredients contained in Burger King's Whopper has never changed, according to the lawsuit. Here's a question. How did you come to that determination? How did you look at a commercial on TV and determine that what you see on TV is not the same size meat you're buying? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. I mean, they always say in the advertisements, usually anyway, this picture, may appear larger than the actual size.
Well, yeah, it says may appear something. It points out the fact that
size. Right.
Yeah,
so
actual product may vary or something like that.
Yeah. So I think it's a baseless lawsuit.
So do I. I don't know why no one's ripped it up yet and thrown it out.
I know.
Before, in any way of entertaining it, but the class action lawsuit alleges that Burger King's size inflation doesn't stop at the Whopper, noting that the ads also overstate the size of menu items like the Impossible Burger. Well, anyway, the Big King and the Bacon Double Cheeseburger, among other items. I'm going to tell you something personally. I've had the Big King. That is a lot of sandwich.
Yeah, it is.
I can't have the Big King now with my new eating thing, but the Big King is a lot of sandwich.
Yes, it is.
And I cannot believe that they're alleging that in the lawsuit that there's a problem with the Big King sandwich. Anyway.
These people are just headline grabbers.
Yep, exactly.
That's all I think.
The filing points to YouTube and social media comments about Burger King's food items. Let me read that to you again, everybody out there. The filing, they filed this lawsuit, and it points to YouTube and social media comments about Burger King's food items.
Okay, so everybody's opinion matters now,
Yeah.
apparently.
With some food bloggers complaining about the difference between the advertising copy and the reality of the food.
Wow.
Listen, I don't know how many times I've said on this program and off this program, stop getting your news and information from social media.
I know, right?
So you're
I
telling
depend
me,
on one source for my news, not you.
oh God, even I'm not reliable. How can you file a lawsuit that is based on YouTube and social media comments?
I know. It's ridiculous.
Like, comments are comedy. Here we go again. Let's get back. We just drew a circle back to the first segment.
Yeah.
Comments are sometimes the best part of any story on the internet to read. But anyway, how do you then look at the comments and go, wow, these people are mad about the Whopper? They think that picture is bigger than the actual sandwich. I got to file a lawsuit.
Oh, my goodness. Following that logic, if I were to say that when I watched Ant-Man, those ants were so much larger than actual ants.
They were so big they made Ant-Man look tiny.
Right? So I don't understand why I can't sue, because real ants are not as big as they're portrayed in that movie.
So not for nothing, but the issue is especially concerning now that inflation, food, and meat prices are very high, and many customers, especially lower income consumers, are struggling financially, according to the lawsuit. So not only are they saying these comments on YouTube said the food is smaller than what you're advertising, but it also says, and this is important right now because the inflation in the economy is weakening and making us even broker.
Right.
I mean, this lawsuit holds so much credibility in my eyes that they should say it that way. They should say, because we're all broker.
Right. Even though broker is not a word.
Right.
Like broker, that's a word, but not broker.
So yeah. So apparently, according to this lawsuit, you can have it your way.
Apparently.
At Burger King.
Apparently.
But like the lovely Sharen said, companies hire advertising to do these. And if you saw videos of how these advertising companies actually make pancakes look so delicious, you would just spin.
The material that they use to make it look like butter, because that's not real butter. Okay.
And that delicious maple syrup. I mean the 10 weight 40.
Right. It is car oil, But yeah, it's crazy.
Okay. So there's that. Burger King.
There's that.
I won't stop eating that anymore. I can't eat that right now because
we don't really eat there anymore.
Yeah.
We don't eat anywhere anymore since COVID.
Right. Well, here's one that should particularly interest you. A woman has an organ removed after not farting in front of her boyfriend for years.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. What organ?
I don't. It was like a stand-up organ.
Wow.
So this Irish barista, Cara Clark, 19 years old. Wow. Reportedly had to get her appendix removed after 2 full years of holding in farts around her boyfriend. Clark posted a TikTok video on March 29th on her account, and that has been viewed about 2.2 million times. I'm posting tech tips.
I know.
Free computer tech advice.
Right.
And I'm not getting 1.2 million hits. I'm not getting 100,000 hits. I'm not getting 0.2 million. I'm not getting 1,000. My highest one is 926.
Wow.
Free tech tips.
Right.
But this lady doesn't fart for 2 years, and it's almost 2.5 million friggin' views.
That's crazy.
Clark tells the Nottingham Post that she developed extreme stomach pain while at work and immediately went to the hospital. She discovered she had an infection that required the removal of the appendix before it burst. All seemingly because she would not pass gas in front of her boyfriend Duffy, who reportedly was dying laughing at the reason for the surgery.
Wow. How insensitive is he?
Right? Will Smith ought to slap the shit out of him.
Right? Or her.
The video stirred up nearly 2,700 comments, many of which included women like Clark who did the same. Others said they let loose around their male partners without a care. One user simply said, "New fear unlocked."
Wow. You know what, though? I gotta say, when I was her age, I would do the exact same thing.
I think we both did that when we were dating.
Yeah. And it's like,
You
you
remember when
don't want to be the first one to fart in front of your new mate.
And now look at us now.
We're like tooting like it's no one's
right. It's like a lighthouse foghorn up in here sometimes.
We're afraid to walk behind each other up the steps.
But yeah, because there were times where I walked to and from your house late at night because we were only one township apart, and it wasn't a long walk; it was a straight run.
Yeah.
And that was a very comfortable walk home because it was like,
I know,
especially walking across I-95 on a bridge. I mean, we had all the other smells.
The funniest thing is when you would close the door, I'm sure you heard these loud ass farts coming from the other side of the door. But no, like, we've all done that, but I don't think we've ever done it to the point
where we would put ourselves in medical jeopardy.
Yeah.
Right.
First of all, is that medically possible?
I think so.
Is it?
I would think so.
I mean, like, to hold in your farts like that? I mean, it's painful. Very painful to hold in your farts.
Especially if you ate a very gassy food. I mean, if you don't let them out, you can probably blow a tire and have a hernia.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah.
And you have to call the tow truck. Anyway, don't hold your farts in, man. Let it go. Let it
go.
Here's the thing. Let it go. If she leaves, it wasn't meant to be. If she stays, then marry her. Anyway. All right, moving on to the Wombat of the Week. How can you get involved with the Wombat of the Week? It's very simple. All you have to do is send us a verifiable link to a news story of stupid people doing stupid things. Has to be verifiable. And send it to us. You can send it to us at joelmichalecradio@gmail.com or send it across on Facebook at JM Talk. Send us a DM. Get it to us. It goes into the lineup. I got to tell you, the lineup is huge right now because I was not blowing smoke when I said we can close our eyes and go and we'd pull one right out of the air.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That's the problem with society right now. Everybody wants to be a wombat.
Yep.
So this wombat is from, I thought I had that, the area, right at the thing, but I didn't. Anyway, so it's about two teens. A teen was killed after two boys, or it might have been more than two boys. Anyway, they take turns shooting at each other wearing body armor.
Oh my God.
This really also falls into the Darwin Awards. If you don't know what the Darwin Awards is, it's basically it's wombat to the 10th power. It's people who are actually doing things that are so stupid that they're taking themselves out of the gene pool.
Right.
So the police said that the two boys took turns shooting at each other while wearing body armor. And one of the teens, 16 years old, died after he was hit by a bullet while taking turns with 17-year-old Joshua Vinnan. So police did arrest Vinnan on Thursday on a charge of aggravated manslaughter of a child with a firearm. And a 17-year-old witness to the shooting, he misled officials with inaccurate information about what took place and who actually shot the 16-year-old. So the witness was also arrested and charged with providing false information to law enforcement, which is a very serious crime.
Oh, sure.
And at 17, that's not a crime that you want on your record.
Right. Oh, I know.
But so the story doesn't go into detail, but I imagine They got a hold of body armor from somewhere. Maybe one of them has a police officer in the family, but
Right.
Body armor is not made for fun. First of all, firearms aren't made for fun.
I know.
These are the kind of stories that really piss me off as a gun owner,
Right.
because I have questions. Where do they get the firearm? 2 17-year-olds and a 16-year-old? Where did they get the firearm?
Right. Exactly.
So that's problem number 1. Problem number 2, where'd they get the body armor? And problem number 3 is body armor is not a toy. You know, when someone gets shot with body armor, like when a law enforcement officer gets shot with body armor, there's a very high chance, survivor or not, that body armor is retired. Or if it's plates, the plates are replaced.
Oh, yeah.
You don't just swap it around and keep firing at it.
Right?
Like, I want more information about this. I want to know where they got this stuff.
Yeah, it's horrible that they had to learn the hard way.
And they did, because the 2 17-year-olds are being charged as adults.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so not being charged as juveniles.
Who was killed?
The 16-year-old.
Oh.
Yeah. And it doesn't specify how. It doesn't specify if it didn't hit the body armor.
Right.
Did it hit a piece of weak body armor? Did it ricochet off the body armor and hit him something?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which, again, could be caused by creating multiple dents and fractures in the body armor from the firearm repeatedly being shot at it.
Exactly.
So they're both going to be charged as adults, and they should. They should. It's an asinine move, and it really does nothing for those of us that are trying to advance the education and the knowledge of other people as to why it's important to maintain the Second Amendment and maintain our right to bear arms. Then you have clowns like this who go around doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
Really? It's so comfortable down here. It's cool.
I'm sweating.
You're also wearing a very non-breathable shirt.
Yeah, probably why.
That's made of polyester.
Is it?
Because it stretches. It's polyester.
Yeah.
It doesn't breathe. Polyester doesn't breathe very well.
Okay.
This is cotton.
Okay.
So, yeah. So these, all 3 kids, condolences to the family of the victim.
Absolutely.
But all 3 of these kids are wombats, and I would include, even though they're nameless because we don't know who they are, whoever's handgun and body armor it was.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't give it to him, but for not having it secured or whatever.
Yep.
It's like these challenges with these teenagers. Mm-hmm. They want to do stupid things. It all started with the Tide Pods, and it just went crazy from there. And funny, one of the first, somewhere in the first 10 or 12 shows of this new concept show that we started, the Tide Pods are in there. The Tide Pods happened the same year I started this program.
Right, exactly. I remember that.
And then you had the let's get out of the car while it's moving and dance. How many people got run over doing that by their own freaking car?
I know.
Let's drink boiling hot water challenge.
All these different challenges that people were trying to, and then I don't remember exactly what the challenge was, but I believe it was something like the teenagers had to do something to kill themselves. And it was mortifying, I
got an idea. How about we teach children properly challenge? How about that? Let's do something about what we're teaching the youth and how we're teaching the youth.
That would go off like a fart in church.
Or a fart. Well, if it's good, you better fart in church. Otherwise, you're going to have your appendix removed.
Right.
It's really quite that simple.
Right. Exactly.
So, So anyway, so that's the Wombat of the week. All 3 of them. Anyone else who's responsible for it? How'd they get the handgun? How'd they get the body armor? Include them too.
Right.
And firearms are nothing to play with.
Exactly. They're not toy guns.
So not only was it left where it can be gotten to,
right,
but there was no education given to these children,
right,
who may be surrounded. Like, obviously, oh man, I'm just so upset about this story, actually. Yeah. Anyway, get your wombats in, joelmichalecradio@gmail.com, or send it to us at Facebook as a DM. I probably, you know what, I'm so upset about it. I probably should not have done that one as a Wombat. I really probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But I did. Sue me. What are you going to do about it?
Don't say that.
Right? You know what you can do
You
about
take
it.
that part out.
You know what you can do about it.
What?
You can say goodbye, Sharon.
Goodbye, Sharen.
All right. Well, there it is. The lovely Sharon is leaving. I'm leaving for 90 seconds. Take a quick break, get something to drink. And when we come back, oh my God, the rest of the podcast coming up
What?
right after this.
Hi, this is Tara. You're listening to my puppy, so don't go anywhere. He'll be right back.
I want to get back to kissing the cheeks of my grandbabies, making Sunday dinner with a house full of family and lots of laughs.
COVID-19 has changed how we live and how we feel. But now, there are vaccines. And they are the very first step that let us get back to what we miss most. It's okay to have questions.
Is it safe?
Should I wait? Now, get the facts. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when vaccines are available to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Are you ready for some more Joel Michalec Show?
I'd better not. I have what doctors call a little bit of a weight problem.
I have the irrefutable proof that the earth is not flat. Here it is. If the earth was flat, don't you think cats would be on the edge of it, knocking off? A new episode every Sunday at joelmichalec.com. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Joel Michalec Show featuring the lovely Sharen, who has taken exit. And we are back with you and I, me and you, here on the last segment of the show. And the last couple of weeks we had a lot of, we still have a lot of commitments. It's difficult, you know, it's difficult to get the show put together with the amount of things coming at us left and right as of late. And it just seems like more things keep coming instead of giving us some sort of a reprieve. And so it's been difficult, and we had to take a couple of weeks, and we weren't on the air. I was doing filler productions, and a couple of them were old time radio stuff. And you know, if you had heard any of it, and if you like that stuff, or you never really heard old time radio because maybe you're from the younger generation, and you enjoy it, there was a concept here at Joel Michalec Productions in conjunction with Reality One Radio to produce a new old time radio show, and we're just on the cusp of putting it out starting January of 2022 when my colleague and partner Rich Hall passed away suddenly from, you know, the bad things that COVID does to the body. And so the concept is still there. The notes are still there. The library is in place. We could do it, and I may still do it. And the sad part of it is about not having the time to do it is that we have stations ready to air it in that part. So, yeah. So that's where we are with that. But something that we definitely may still do in the future. You know, it's always there. That's the thing about producing podcast radio and stuff like that. It's always there. It's always there. And so, yeah. So, maybe keep an earshot out for that. So, anyway, here we are. One of the things I wanted to talk about this week was, and I've said this before, like, I feel like I just keep going over and over and over and over and over the same stuff sometime. And this is my advice for you to not get your news from social media, unless it's a reliable source. And really these days, what is a reliable news source, right? What is a reliable news source? We have no idea. But I'm seeing some stuff on social media this week. People are losing their minds about this mega comet. Now, if you haven't heard about this, okay, there's a mega comet that was discovered. It's, the scientific name is C2014 UN 271, also known as the Bernardinelli-Bernstein comet, the biggest comet ever seen. And some images came out recently from the Hubble telescope. And the reason that they were able to make a determination as to the size of this thing is because it's larger than any comet ever captured by this telescope. And the images are actually really fascinating, when you think about it, because of how far away it is. And Hubble has gotten these amazing images of it. But so they're saying that, here's the facts. So they're saying that, this thing stretches at about 80 miles across. Okay, and that's the nucleus, the center. They're saying that's like larger than the state of Rhode Island. And this according to a statement from NASA. And it's about 50 times larger than the average comet core. So imagine that. Imagine the size of it being, the way they put it in perspective, and I guess you can make your own determination as to how big that might be in your own mind. But, so this thing is, it's traveling at like 22,000 miles per hour. And, it's very far from here, okay? And they say that this comet has been coming towards our sun for over 1 million years. For over 1 million years, it's been working on getting to here. Now, how did they make those determinations in the scientific world? I have no idea. It's probably a lot of equations. Because how can you take an image from a telescope of something so far away and make determinations like that? Say, hey, how long has that thing been traveling at this point? And the closest it will ever get to Earth is about 1 billion miles. Somewhere around 2031. So, that's the facts. But what's going around social media these days is, that, this mega comet's coming, and everybody's starting to freak out about this mega comet. And then there's some people that are like, oh my God, thank God, just get this whole experiment over with. Come on, mega comet, come on, mega comet, get here. It's not even coming close. It's not even coming close. Like, please stop looking at people's videos on social media and making determinations. Like, how many life decisions and life determinations and outcomes have been made based on somebody watching videos on social media and taking it for gospel? How many? So, anyway, I just wanted to point that away, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the stories I'm talking to you. I want to point that out again about where you get your news from. This comet is still too far away for Hubble to exactly define its nucleus, okay? But with the information they have, they're making an estimate that it's about 80 miles across. Now, that's the next largest one. Before that was one discovered in 2002, and that was 60 miles across. So, and many of you probably didn't even hear about this because you have to be getting scientific news from somehow where the mainstream media has to pop out with some amazing story that, you didn't know about. But this is the kind of thing, though. This is exactly the kind of thing that the mainstream media would use as fear-mongering, which is sort of what I'm seeing on social media. People like we complain about the news, about the mainstream news media not being fair, not being balanced, not reporting correct, inflating stories, like fear-mongering, and then we the people, or some of the we the people, then go on social media and basically do the same thing. But it's worse. It's worse because these people somehow become influencers and they have thousands and thousands and thousands of followers. And if you have a following like that and you're an influencer, the last thing you want to do is, basically spew garbage, and call it news. That's not good. That's not good. So that's what's going on with that. It's interesting, but that's the science behind, what is going on with that comet. Space is crazy, right? The stuff that's out there. And to just think about for a second just the vastness of what is out there, because it's not just us. There's so many other galaxies out there, and we have no idea what's in them because of the sheer time it would take to get to one. That's why I really enjoy movies that go over that. Really enjoy movies that go over that look into that give you just a little bit of a little touch of that. Contact was one. And then where they just kind of dabble into that, and when they do it in such a way that makes it really, really, really interesting. And what was that other one that I really love? It's right on the tip of my tongue, and I can't. Oh my goodness, I can't think of it. I've talked to so many people about it and gotten people to watch it. It's a long movie, but oh my goodness, I cannot think for the world right now what it was. But movies like that make you think about the vastness of what's out there, or the possibilities of what's out there, is amazing. So, okay. One other thing, another story that had popped up that we didn't get to earlier in the show because we were talking about some other weird stories. But anyway, so check this out. Another thing that we talk about a lot of times is the sue happy people in this country, in this world. Let's say in the world, because it's not just the United States, it's everywhere. People will sue for anything. For instance, a Kentucky man took his employer to court after they threw the man a birthday party that he didn't want, and the jurors sided with him. Okay, and he won. He won this court case in the Kenton County Circuit Court. So the plaintiff, who's an employee of Gravity Diagnostics, he sued the employer after he was fired following a birthday party they threw for him in August. According to documents in the court, the employee had notified the office manager that birthday parties triggered his anxiety disorder and that being the center of attention will cause him to have a panic attack. Jesus, help me. Doing this simple thing could help ease your anxiety. So he apparently asked days in advance before his birthday not to do a celebration as they did for other employees. And then on the 7th of August, on his birthday, they arranged a lunchtime birthday party in the lunchroom. This according to the lawsuit. The employee said they found out about the party as he was headed into his lunch break, which triggered a panic attack. The incident caused the employee to leave the office suddenly and spend his lunch break in his car. He then sent a text message to the office manager asking why she failed to accommodate his request and not have a party. And then the next day, he was called into a meeting in which he said he was confronted and criticized by the office manager about his reaction to the party. And that meeting then triggered another panic attack, and the employee asked the office manager to stop. And the employee was then sent home for the next 2 days. And that weekend, he was notified that he was being fired, quote, because of events of the previous week, end quote. So he sued the employer on the grounds of disability, discrimination, and retaliation. Now, and he won. So, I mean, I do see his point. If you say don't do it, then don't do it. I mean, it is how much more of a simple request. But this request now this request cost the employer not only the birthday party expenditures that they made, but now it costs the employer $450,000. $450,000 for just doing nothing like the employee asked. And that's another problem. Yes, there's a problem there where people don't want to work. But there's there's another side to that, and a lot of people are finding out that employers, a lot of them, are full of crap and don't care about their employees. And in this case, this company did not really care about this employee. he asked them days in advance not to throw a party. And they threw a party. Now, I'm not sure if he's clinically diagnosed with these issues. I suspect that he is because he won his court case. And I think without something like that, it would have been a he said, she said, sort of thing. But so, yeah, all in all, it doesn't, I don't know why some employers can be such hard asses. These are the people that work for you and are responsible for your wealth. Responsible for your wealth. Boy, the amount of Scrooges in this world running businesses. That is an expensive mistake to make. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know what to say after that, except that brings us to the end of the show. And so I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to remind everybody of something that it's in the show notes, but stop by my TikTok at TechRSQ, TechRSQ. I am doing short tech help videos and trying to garner a following so I can do live ones. So stop by and see me over there at TechRSQ. Thanks for listening to the program. Find us here on the program at www.jmtalk.net. Also at TikTok and Facebook at JM Talk, Instagram and Twitter at JM Talk Radio. You can also drop us a line and a Wombat of the Week if you want in the email at joelmichalecradio@gmail.com. So that does it for us. I want to thank everybody for listening and join us each Sunday. New podcasts drop each week. We are trying to get back into the swing of things, but bear with us. We appreciate your cooperation as we sometimes have to put up some other original produced content instead of our lovely voices. We'll see you again next time, folks. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your Easter, and we'll catch you next time on the show. Bye-bye. There used to be a show on HBO, like a reality show filmed at the Bunny Ranch. Do you remember that? Yeah, with all the hookers. It was
No. Is this something that you and I need to sit down and talk about?
No. So the owner.
Are you sure?
Yes, the owner, Dennis Hoff.
Okay.
He won the election for the Nevada State Legislature. Here's the problem.
Isn't he dead?
He died.
How can a dead person be elected?
And even in death, he had beaten the Democratic opponent, Lisa Romanoff.
Well, that's not saying much for Lisa Romanoff.
How bad is the Democratic Party in that area? You're dead, and you win the election.
On his first day in this position, is someone going to say, hey, you look a little stiff?